Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The gentleman's agreement drama continues last night with Shotzzy seemingly revealing that single tap to sprint is now allowed by the professional players. Some pros are not necessarily happy at all about the way that it's been handled behind the scenes in the GA chats over the last couple of weeks. Paul X of the Minnesota Rocker suggesting if single tap is being used by the pros, he is now prepared to break all the GAs under the sun. The Sorg might be back, the snipers might be back in action, among other things as well. Is it going to be complete chaos when we get to the minor in a few days' time? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, just a team confirmation, at least from the Houston Spartans. They are picking up these guys. Spart, Prolute, Capsule, aBeZy. This, of course, the team that featured Huke at the start of the season. He is now in the Pro League with OpTic Texas. aBeZy there instead. They are officially being coached, by the way, by Donnie Temp. And also by OT Faded here, but I thought it was kind of interesting just because Temp was obviously speaking with these guys for some time. Temp's now taken his next step away from competing. I think he's gone to college, right to university, but he's still staying involved in the competitive scene, which is pretty cool to see. And, well, he's coming on board supporting these guys as, look, they've obviously looked pretty good in challenges. There's other teams that have looked good in challenges too. We saw FaZe were splitting maps with Exceed's roster in challenges scrims just yesterday, and Nastie's team has been pretty good as well, at least so far. The Falcons Academy, they are in the mix. Unfortunately, they do not have Khalid anymore, the player who's gone back to Saudi Arabia. He, of course, was in their starting team, but the team of QK, King, Hamza, who's come in, and then, of course, King aBeZy, who's dropped down from their starting roster. And it is interesting, of course, because Clayster yesterday was talking about the ages of the players, and he said, oh, well, no, this isn't confirmed, our new rosters. It's just that's who we were practicing with today. But, of course, this is the academy team that's qualified for the elite on a couple of days' practice. So Clay's happy about it, you know, pleased for the guys. But equally, if they've qualified for the elite with this roster, you know, does that not imply they're going to be playing with this roster? Which also therefore means that the starting roster is going to be what we thought it would be with, it might be Dahoom rather than Doom. You guys have been talking about that. I think there's a player in another esport with a similar name pronounced a similar way. So, yeah, maybe Dahoom and Wixel alongside, of course, Roxas and Exnid, just to get all the names correct here. And, you know, these guys, presumably their academy team. So, you know, these guys qualified for the elite. Says to me maybe that what we've seen from the Falcons over the last couple of days is very likely to be what their roster will be when they play OpTic in a few days' time. Surge have looked interesting. Their scrims that we have occasionally seen over the last couple of weeks haven't exactly been great. They were okay when the CDL started. Probably how we'd expect them to be, really. Capable of winning respawns, is going to go to Game 5 a lot of the time, and their intention is going to be to win a lot of those Game 5s. One of the problems is, of course, for the team is that they're based out of Vancouver, and it's not exactly an ideal spot when it comes to playing on servers that are largely based towards, you know, the south of the US. Obviously, lots of the teams are based out of Texas. So in a similar way to where LA teams have and maybe continue to struggle against teams based in Texas, playing out of Vancouver is not exactly ideal. And it seems Hicksy's kind of fed up of the weather as well. Never been to Vancouver. Does look absolutely beautiful, though. This, by the way, is the first look at the OpTic team pack in the game. I think it's going to be, what's today, the 5th. On the 7th, these all launch, and we've seen Boston, I think, did a pretty cool job with theirs. This, though, is going to be seemingly the OpTic one. So, of course, they've got the stickers, the banners. I like the calling card as well, actually, with the green wall stuff. This is what their character skin is going to be looking like, and a few other options here as well. I like the white in general. I don't know how well I think it works with the green, this specific green. I think I prefer the black version for OpTic. This is the FaZe one, though, and I gotta say, despite the fact that we obviously roasted FaZe's rebrands the other day, I think this, like, white operator skin here with the snow, whatever you want to describe it as, that is fire, I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah, at least they've kept, for now, the Atlanta FaZe logo as it is, rather than the FaZe clan rebrands that we saw the other day that maybe they are going to follow suit with at some point in the future. But yeah, this is what FaZe have got going on. That's what OpTic had going on a couple of seconds ago. Good to see them arrive into the game, finally, I guess. But again, it's nothing spectacular. It's nothing that is going to turn the heads of, you know, the lads and dads that are playing Warzone to be like, oh, wow, you know, what is this stuff? It's time to start watching the CDL. Maybe some of them are good enough to do that, but, you know, at the end of the day, Activision are trying to just make bread from the skins again, rather than, you know, I'd love the fact if the skins for the Call of Duty League were just the very best skins, right? The stuff that everyone wanted, all the real special stuff with all the animations, and I don't know, it'd be nice if the development resources went into that, because therefore not only could Activision sell the best skins that they usually do because they have the designers make the cool ones, but also it helps promote the esports, which surely they want to promote because it helps them as well. I don't know. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. I'm biased, obviously, on this one. Last night, by the way, there was a massive pot, 8 they played. So, again, some familiar names here grinding it, but an $8,000 pot. Not actually sure who won this in the end, but just to look at some of the names that have been getting involved. HyDra was on a team with Shotzzy, and then Real, of course, on Miami, who was quite close maybe to going to Toronto this year instead of JoeDeceives. That never happened, though. Skyz rounding out the team, of course, on the Gentle Mates roster. 04 of the Surge. Huke, of course, also from OpTic. Drazah from FaZe, and X from the Minnesota Rocker. So this pretty much does show you the players that are grinding at the moment. There's been lots of even credit by Shotzzy given to the likes of X. We'll discuss him more in a couple of minutes time with what he had to say on GAs yesterday. Drazah's always grinding, so is Huke and Shotzzy and certainly HyDra, and then Real, Skyz and 04 in the mix as well. So, you know, it's interesting just to look at the fact that HyDra's in Challenges, Real's on Miami, Skyz on Gentlemates. Basically, all of these guys are from very different organizations, apart from Shotzzy and Huke. Those are the only two guys from the same org here, grinding these big chows, and, you know, Shotzzy and Huke, of course, on the same organisation. But let's talk about what X and potentially others had to say as well on the Gentleman's Agreement drama. So last year, it was a big conversation point getting snaking out of the game. And at the same time that they got snaking out of the game, they also agreed to get rid of single tap to sprint, among other things the pros GA'd last year. But over the last few weeks, it's become increasingly clear that the pros have not necessarily been following their own Gentleman's Agreements. The idea being the CDL will ban certain things like the shotguns, the claymores and all this, but there are other things in the game that the pros want to ban themselves, such as, you know, sound equalization, loudness EQ, stuff like this, sound settings, other settings in the game they feel like detract from the quality of competitive play. Whether the pros are right or wrong on this, I think, you know, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. It is what it is, such as the snipers getting bans, I thought was outrageous, still think it's outrageous, and seemingly some of the pros actually agree on this one. But apparently over the last couple of weeks, some pros, maybe even the last couple of months, have started to run single tap to sprint, which to be honest is probably a sensible setting to be using anyway, but the pros decided to ban it because they feel like there's more of a skill gap without it. Maybe there is, but maybe that doesn't outweigh the downsides, whatever you want to say. But Ghosty was mentioning this to Sib back in August around about the World Cup time, I guess. Forget exactly who he was talking about here, but he was, I think, roasting some challenger players maybe, who basically the challengers said they'd follow the GAs and they pulled up running the single tap. Now, as it turns out, some of the pros in the league might have been doing this as well. This was a clip from the 30th of November where Ghosty said he reckons half the league are running single tap. And over the last few weeks, aBeZy has raised the point and said, hey guys, is single tap actually GA'd? And got no response from the pros. So the conclusion seems to be that, yeah, people have been running it. Now, what is the question? So the conclusion seems to be, yeah, people have been running it. The question, therefore, is what's the response going to be from the pro players? Will they say, okay, you know, you guys were using it, we weren't using it, you might have been gaining a competitive advantage by doing so, you know, we'll let you off type thing, whoever even was doing it, and maybe it was many different teams over the first couple of weeks back in December when the CDL got underway? Or will they take the approach, as maybe X will, to say, damn, you guys were using it and we weren't, so like we're at a disadvantage, screw you guys, the GAs are fraudulent, it's time to throw them out of the window. And that's effectively what X says last night. So we are for real using single tap, I'm sniping, I'm using a Sorg, and I'm throwing smokes. So, and obviously Ben J's atting Zoom with the replies as well, saying, hey, Mr. GA Commissioner, you got to get on top of this. Reminded me briefly, actually, if there was a Challengers tournament, I think it was back in Cold War. I seem to remember on, what was it called, Checkmate. There was a Checkmate hardpoint where every Challengers team was throwing the GAs out the window. Like, there was something that happened and somebody broke a GA. I think it was about the QBZ or whatever that gun was called in Cold War anyway. People were pulling out thermals, they were pulling out smokes, like it was chaos. People were throwing smokes on the ground, using thermal sights to see through them, and it was ridiculous on some level and probably not the competitive play we want, but it was entertaining. There's no doubt about that. So X seems to be of the opinion that, damn, these other pros have been kind of abusing the GAs, using single tap when we thought it was banned, but it actually maybe wasn't, because some pros were using it and not saying anything, and which pros these were, who knows, maybe it was 80% of the league at this point. Ghosty seemed to reckon it was half of the league back in November. The league hadn't even started at that point. But CleanX seems to be of the opinion that, look, if the pros can't uphold their own gentlemen's agreements, then screw it, I'm going to do what I want. What are you going to do about it? The problem, of course, is that single tap, can you really tell if somebody's using it or not? Well, not easily. You can, but it's difficult to say. Whereas if somebody snipes you, you know they've pulled out a sniper, right? It's pretty straightforward if you're trying to stop somebody from doing it. Now, the sniping GA in the first place was highly controversial because it maybe got banned, maybe there were enough votes for it, but some teams don't actually agree that was the case, and then they voted to ban it again, and it didn't get enough votes to ban it, which would be 8 out of 12 of the league, but then the pros argued, oh, well, we already banned it, so actually it needed 8 out of 12 to overturn it the other way. Whatever, long and the short of it is, there's no snipers in competitive play this year, much to the disarray and the disappointment of the community at large and the fan base, and to be fair, many of the pro players as well. CleanX says, screw you guys, I'm going to snipe, I'm going to use a SORG, and I'm going to throw some smokes. Now, CleanX is probably just saying things here. I don't think he's actually going to do this. He's making a threat, however, to the league on some level. And, Ghosty's in the replies and says, yeah, I am keen to snipe. Let's bring it back in. But no smokes, however. They're actually busted. So what do you guys think about this? We got another response here from Vivid in the replies. Of course, he's playing for the Ravens right now, and he doesn't really say much, but that's pretty much all we have in the replies. Like, there's no other pro players really saying all that much. It's BenJ, obviously a pro player in his own right after the clip at the start of Modern Warfare 3, Ghosty, and then Vivid, and obviously Chino as well here, who's not competing anymore, right? But he's in the replies as well. No other pro players really saying all that much. So it does, to me, raise some questions as to what's going to happen next, because only a few days time here until we see everything get back underway. Is it impossible that we might see one of these teams break the GA, pull out a sniper? Because they might well argue there's other teams been breaking GAs for weeks at this point, and nobody wants to do anything about it, so screw the GAs. Now, would that be entertaining to watch? Sure. Is it actually going to happen, or will it be upheld? I don't know, because a GA that I don't want to get broken is the snaking one. I think, the pros and hopefully the community are happy that no snaking is a good idea. But the snipers, obviously, we want back, so I guess you can't have it both ways. But very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. I believe Pred last went live about 3 to 4 days ago now, so I'm not sure we've had an update from Pred, and whether it's even possible for Pred in the situation that he's in to give an update on when he's looking to return. All we know is he said in December time, after all the drama happens, that he's looking to return after Major 1. So it seems like this guy's an OpTic fan, right? And he's saying, look, if we don't win Major 1, we can get Pred back. Is it going to be as simple as that? I'm not so convinced personally, but it definitely is going to be a talking point going into, minor 1, Major 1, whatever. If teams are struggling, Pred is maybe an option depending on the circumstances. But very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Holy shit, I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Oh, you're literally the worst sniper. You're literally the worst sniper I've ever seen.
I agree with that.
You just, bro.
Fuck, bro. You're...
Oh, he's so good with this angle, bro. The angle is the most basic angle in the game,
bro.
Can you just pre-fire this shit or some shit?
No.
Did you even aim with your sniper? Be honest, bro.
Dude, the first 4 rounds, did you even shoot a bullet?
Fuck, bro. I'm really not appreciating this negative tone and nature.
I'm literally seeing my teammate getting shit on with a sniper. I'm not happy with it. We are going in private match after this.
Oh, no.
We're going private match. I want to see the angle that was so special.
Byron, so off spawn, he went to the left.